Go.
Okay, so I got the transformer pulled out. I busted the side off where the 120 or 115 volt input goes into the side of the transformer here. As you can see, I have all these broken pieces for where I busted. This lead here, the black wire, goes to the course through a thermal fuse and comes in here to the windings inside the coil. As you can see here, when I prong between the input side of the black wire and there's no measurement, so that tells me that the thermal fuse is open. To verify that we got the right wire, we're going to cut the right wire. You're going to want to measure between this point here and these input pins. And as you can see, well, from here to the black wire, we have an opening. And if we measure between the blue wire and here, we get about 1.3 ohms, which my voltmeter is off a little bit, so you should have right around about 1 ohm. So this would be that the winding is complete. So what we're going to do is we're going to install a replacement thermal fuse. I picked these up from Radio Shack. I'm going to use a 182 degree thermal fuse, and what we're going to do is we're just going to tuck it away inside here. It should be perfectly fine to tuck away in there because the plastic housing, the inside of this transformer has a plastic housing here which is going to insulate it, and then the windings also have a plastic housing wrapped around it. Which way you're going to want to install the thermal fuse is you're going to want to install the coupler portion of this, the wire, to go in the inside, the isolated portion of it, because you don't want, if it was to ever go out again, you don't want to be supplying power to the outside casing of the thermal fuse. You want the power to be in the inside portion of the thermal fuse. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the thermal fuse, we're going to solder this into here, stick it in there, and go from there. One thing I'm going to do is I am going to use some shrink tubing, if I can find it. Sometimes I get lucky and find stuff real quick, and sometimes I can't find it real quick. My office is currently a big mess, but we got some shrink tubing right here. So we're going to see if we can get the shrink tubing to fit. That looks like it'll work. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the tip off the thermal fuse. Or actually, no, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this to length. Or here, we'll just use this one. That's too big. We'll just use a little piece of this shrink tubing. We're going to use that much. It's probably not going to work too well because of how short of an area I'm going to be working. But we're going to throw this on there like so, and then we're going to tin it a little bit. If you don't have an extra set of hands, I recommend going to Harbor Freight and buying one of these little vices. They work miracles when you got small little things you gotta hold and solder when you need an extra set of hands. Excuse the mess. I haven't cleaned my office in a week or so. Let's see if we can speed this up for the video's sake. If I can. Alright, so there we go. There's that. We got our... Oh. Put a little bit of water on this pad. Excuse the mess. Again. We're gonna put a little solder on here. It's gonna probably go pretty quick. Yeah. You don't want to heat it up too long, the thermal fuse, because you don't want it to open. But normally they shouldn't go out until after power's applied and they reach that temperature. We're gonna put some of that there. Hopefully slide this shrink tubing up if it's gonna allow me to, which it probably won't. This darn booger, because I heated it up. Well, that kind of defeat the purpose, didn't it? Let's see if we can get this. Slide up some. It was going to be nice. And it's not going to let me. Yeah, it's not going to let me, but that's okay. It's going to be well forced down in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and bend this kind of in the shape of a U sense, And what we're going to do is we're going to tuck it down in here, like so. It's going to be kind of sticking out there, but if we take this and we adhese it to here, or not adhese it, but solder it onto there, we should be good. So we're going to take it and just turn it up. And we're going to take this thermal fuse, tin it there a little bit, wait for it to cool so we can maneuver it, and we're just going to, whoop, that's still kind of hot, use our little flat tip screwdriver and kind of tuck it back away, if I can get it to go. There it goes. There's that, and we're just going to push this down in here if we can, back where it came from, if I can. And it's going to be floating around kind of right there. I don't think we have to worry about it touching the housing. You can put some hot glue on it, which I'll probably end up redoing this, just so it doesn't touch because it's kind of exposed and bare. You can put some hot glue to isolate it, or you can use a little bit bigger shrink tubing, which I would recommend using a little bit bigger piece of shrink tubing. Unfortunately, I don't have the correct size shrink tubing. But for the sake of making the video, I'm just going to show you that this should work. To verify that our thermal fuse didn't open up, we're going to check the resistance across the transformer again. We should be right around about 1 ohm. My voltmeter doesn't ohm out completely to 0. See, it's about 0.4. So it should be right around about 1 ohm. As you can see, we're at 1.3, so the transformer now should be working. Let me get the radio, or the receiver. It's behind you. Hold on. So here's the receiver. I'm not gonna bolt the transformer in there because I need to put some shrink tubing around that. But for the testing sakes of this video tutorial, I'm just gonna speed it up and just put this in there. Hook these up just to see if it's gonna work, which it should work. Plug in these connectors. Plug in that connector there. Plug in this connector here. Plug in this connector here. Plug in this connector here. And plug in this connector here. Actually, I just broke that pin, huh? Well, that sucks. And let's see if this works. Let's try to hold that out of the way. I'll hold this out of the way. And it doesn't work. Why not? Well, we're going to have to figure out why it doesn't work. Oh, it's probably because it's locked. I think it's auto direct and enter. Stereo ACL and enter. I don't remember which one it was. I know it was something in enter. Well, once I figure out how to get it unlocked, I will get back with you.